Okay, so I wanted to tell you about my week last week. I wasn't on video at all. My husband was out of town with our camera. But I wanted to let you know about my exciting week last week. Last week on Thursday, I debuted on the local newscast as their Ask the Expert life coach. And that was on Thursday. And I wanted to let you know how my caveman brain worked for that. Because of course I went into my caveman brain. It was a public thing, very public, so that's one reason to go into the caveman brain. And the other thing was that it was just new. And anything we do that's new is definitely going to put us into our caveman brain to a certain extent. So what happened to me was I was driving to the TV studio and I was about 15 minutes away, and that's when I started to notice the symptoms of being in my caveman brain, the physical symptoms. And I was pretty happy with that because I was able to remain relaxed. I think through all the practice I do, I was pretty relaxed all day. But 15 minutes before I got to the studio, my stomach started to clench, right? And I started to feel tightness in my throat. And that was my first sign. I was like, here we go, getting nervous. So what I did is I employed a brain shift. And for me, that helps get me out of my caveman brain. So I started sort of singing scales in my head, and I'm not a singer, but for some reason this works for me anyway. And as I did that, I turned on one of my favorite songs, and it's a song that's really sort of uplifting for me. So I flipped that baby on and I started singing to that, anything to get me out of that caveman portion of my brain. And this works really well because it uses music, which is in my advanced brain, and it's a completely different part of my brain. So I was singing and I got to the studio, and I think that helped a lot. It helped me at least not get ramped up. So then I got into the studio and started to feel the nerves again because I'm really there now. So I really tried to focus on what was going on around me and be in the present moment, taking note of all the details and how the floor director was doing his job and which camera was on. And again, really trying to get involved in the details to get me out of that caveman brain. But then naturally again, it was about, 15 minutes before I actually went on the air and I started to ramp up a little bit. And I just really tried to relax in my body. Instead of letting my body carry me away and get all tense, I just really focused on breathing and relaxing. And by the time I got on set, I really, really felt pretty comfortable when the time came on. I felt pretty good. And as I looked back upon the day, I was just thrilled with all the techniques I used that really helped keep me in my advanced brain and keep me thinking instead of thinking like a caveman. I was able to be me and be a life coach, and it was awesome. So that's how my day looked. I would love for you to let me know, what are some of the reasons or the symptoms that when you're in your caveman brain. When do you go there, and what type of feelings do you feel when you're there? So I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot.